lovely morning and warm welcome to the program. Kunle Abiyo is my name. Nigeria is home to over 36.9 million SMEs, comprising 96.7% of all businesses in Nigeria. 67% of these businesses are youth-owned. SMEs contribute over 45% to the country's gross domestic product (GDP), with 98.8% of them in the micro cadre. They account for nearly 90% of the jobs in the country. So this morning we are looking at the prospect of the sector as we move into the new year, as we are already in the new year, and we also assess the performance of that sector in 2024. My guest is already here. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back, we'll hit the ground running. Please, do stay with us. Welcome back on the program. Today we are looking at SMEs in 2025. That is the prospect, the outlook of that sector vis-a-vis the performance of that sector in 2024. I have already in the studio Mr. Olawale Ijalano, an accountant, to do justice to it. Ijalano, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Good morning, Nigerians.
Let's first and foremost look at the performance of that sector for 2024. How would you rate it?
Yeah, for 2024, the performances of SMEs in Nigeria were obstructed seriously by economic challenges arising from certain government policies, the removal of the fuel subsidies, then the floating of the naira. These two major policies affected the cost of doing businesses in Nigeria, and the SMEs were most hit by this rising cost. So performances generally in 2024 were generally poor because of this rising cost, because that led to volatility in the market, whereby you could not even predict what your cost will be in 3 to 4 hours, within 3 to 4 hours interval. If you are giving an invoice for a customer in the morning, say for 1 million, if the customer is paying you 3 hours later, that prices might have changed. That invoice may not more be valid. So it created a lot of gap, a lot of trust issue between the business owner and their customers, and that really affected their performances. A good number of these SMEs would definitely run at a loss for 2024. That would definitely.
So majorly policies of government actually affected.
The policies of government actually affected the operations of the SMEs in 2024.
What exactly would you say are these policies that affected the sector?
I've just mentioned the removal of the petrol subsidies.
That happened in 2023?
That happened in 2023, but the spillover still came up to 2024. I think it was even worse off in 2024, because it was 2024 that we began to see Nigerians were expectant when the subsidy was removed, that when Dangote refinery will come on board, the prices will come down. But the opposite was the case. When the refinery actually came on board, we saw a spike in the prices of petroleum products, even after the commissioning of the Dangote refinery. The commissioning was done in 2023, but even after the operations, when the Dangote refinery started the actual production of products. So that then coupled with the floating of the naira actually affected the purchasing power of an average Nigerian, and the SMEs are not exception, because due to the deal in the market, and once this exchange rate became volatile, then it became a serious issue. So the floating of the naira, the removal of the subsidy. These are two major policies of government that actually affected the operation of the SMEs in 2024, coupled with other traditional issues, not keeping adequate records. Most of these operators of these SMEs, they lack fundamental knowledge about the market that they operate. I'll give you an instance. Somebody is into transport sector. All he cares about
we'll still go back to why the SMEs also go down. Because statistics have also shown that 60 to 70% of them do go down within a year. So let's take a look at these policies that you mentioned. The policies were designed by government to actually assist the economy, but that seems it was not to be.
Yeah, the government intention might be pure, but the reality on ground is not really supporting what government is telling us. And if you ask me, I will tell you that government is not really helping the matter. For me, I believe in the removal of the subsidy. I believe in the floating of the naira. I believe it will ultimately lead to the prosperity of the nation, but the suffering that is coming with it is just becoming too much for an average Nigerian in their personal life.
You're looking at the long-term effect.
Yes, I'm looking at the long-term effect, and I would have preferred a system whereby government will attach timeline. Nigerians, this is what we are doing. This is what will happen in the first year. This is what will happen in the second year. By the third year, you begin to reap the benefit. But government has not been up and coming, telling us how long we are going to stay. Except in this recently, where I have had the World Bank say it may take us up to 15 years before we start reaping the benefits. And for me, I don't know if Nigeria will have that patience to run through 15 years of this hardship. So those are the major issues that really affected the operations in 2024.
Well, just like we were trying to mention the other time, majority of these players in this sector cannot sustain the gains they have in that sector. And when you also look at what they are also contributing to the GDP, do you think it's also high time government look into that sector and see how the players can actually sustain it? They are providing 70% of job opportunities in Nigeria. So what should government do as also enter into the area?
Yeah, I think the government has a lot to do in encouraging these people. Let me give you this scenario. Yeah, the SMEs, they provide over 70% of the job opportunities in Nigeria. But when you look critically at these employees, how many of them are gainfully employed?
Underemployed.
And they are seriously underemployed. They are seriously underpaid. I think you won't be surprised to hear that some employees are still paying 30,000 per month to their employees in Nigeria now. Just for you to feed, not to die, you have to spend at least 500 naira per meal. So it means that 30,000 is not really what they are being paid is still low. I think government should look deeper into these SMEs with a view
but you are not contradicting that figure that they also create 70%.
No. They do. They do. They are the major players in the economy. In fact, they are the most consistent. As a matter of fact, we've had the scenarios where a few of the multinational companies left Nigeria in 2024 due to rising costs. To us, we run them, we own them. So we can't shift base. We can't say I can't shut my office tomorrow and say I'm going to UK to go and practice. You understand? So I will remain here. I'll be working here. Try to at least work something out that will be beneficial to me and my business. So they contribute a lot to the GDP, and that is why government should really look deeper. What do we do to these SMEs to continue to encourage them to be in business.
I will ask you what exactly, as a professional, what are these things that government will need to do to encourage them? But before then, let's look at this figure from the National Bureau of Statistics. 67% of these operators are youth.
Yeah.
We don't say this because they're inexperienced, that is why they cannot run the business properly.
No, it's not because of inexperience. You see, you know, most of these SMEs, they operate in an unstructured manner. They are not within the structured business environment. You understand? So even though they operate within the unstructured business environment, but within your mind as a business owner, you have a structure. It's just that you did not document the structure. You have a plan. Believe it's inexperience. It's not. It can't be inexperience. It's just the environment. Take for instance now, power in Nigeria today. Before this program, I was discussing as a company in Ondo State that closed down between 2023 and 2024 due to rising cost. And the issue is customers found imported product cheaper than his own product. Why is his own price is higher? Power to start the production process and conclude it. And there was no electricity. So if he has to run this for 12 hours in a day and they run in shift, and they were burning like 2 million naira diesel every day, if my memory serves me right, if it's not more than that, every day. And at the end of the day, if at the end of the month you've spent more than 70% of your revenue on diesel alone. This is just a component of the power supply. You still have to maintain the generator, you still have to pay your electricians and all the rest. Then if you are using 70% of your revenue to buy diesel, how do you cope with other costs? So, and you cannot...
The cost of production.
The cost of production. And once you go into the production, you can't sell at a price lower. At least if you cannot make profit, you must break even. You must be able to recover your cost. And the customers discovered that importing that product was cheaper than obtaining it locally. So they opted for the importation. And don't forget that opting for this importation will put further pressure on the naira. You understand? Because you are going to use forex to do the importation. So there will be more pressure on the naira. So these are the reasons why government should look critically. I believe sincerely that if the present government would not leave any leg in Nigeria, because I keep wondering where I stay in Lagos. We have an official residence in Lagos. If I'm there now, if I buy electricity, say for 10, if I buy petrol or diesel to run the generator in one day, I will spend the whole 15,000. So you now imagine.
Why is it that they are not looking at the alternative source of energy?
Yes, the alternative sources of energies are there, but you must agree with me that they are also expensive. They're also expensive. For you to come up now and say you want to install a solar energy at home that will power your basic in the office, that will power your basic office something. It is capital intensive. So a good number of these people will not be able to raise this capital. So these are the areas government will come up to assist. Looking at these alternative sources, the way government is pushing for the CNG vehicles, government will also push this is achieved. Cost of doing businesses will come down. You know, once the purchasing power is weakened, once the purchasing power is reduced, it affects the businesses.
But in the clear times, let's look at your outlook for this year for the sector.
Yeah, the only good outlook for 2025 will be that prices may be relatively predictable unlike what happened in 2024.
How do you mean prediction?
Yes, because now I believe we have we have we have reached the peak, around the peak of the volatility in the pricing system. Unlike last year, whereby you know when the present government came to power in 2023, the official rate of the dollar to naira was 461, while in the parallel market it was selling for between 700 to 750 when this government came to power. Honestly, I expected that when the naira
it's over 1,000 now, 1,600.
yes, I sincerely expected then. That was why I really supported the floating, that okay, the black market rate, government rate. So I expected that if the naira is floated, that the government rate will go up while the black market will come down, then they will meet somewhere around 600 naira. But that was not to be. Immediately the naira was floated. There was a time the dollar exchanged for around 2,000 naira. Now it has stabilized between 1.5 to 1.6. So having stabilized that, so that's why I said the volatility in the pricing system might have been reduced significantly. So you cannot look at what you want to do, you cannot predict, you cannot plan your pricing system, you cannot do that ahead, that okay, this thing is likely going to cost between so and so amount, and you'll be right. Unlike last year, that was a time I think I had I love this your phone, can you get it for me? No problem, sir. So he said tomorrow I will give you the money. So the following day, late in the evening, he gave me the money. The third day, very early in the morning, by 9 o'clock, we were at the office. It was no more to be.
The price has increased.
The price significantly. It was not what I told you that is now available in the market. And you will understand if
so in 2025 we will not get to see all of that.
We may not get to see all of that. That is expected to reduce drastically. You can predict that.
And more so that we will not be also importing refined petrol.
Yeah,
now, and that will also have to do with foreign exchange.
Yes, that will also have to do with foreign exchange. But you know that this thing is in two ways. Nigeria has about 2 million barrels per day crude quota that has been given to Nigeria from OPEC. And up to using about 1.4 barrels. Before this government came to power, there was a time it was as low as 800,000 barrels per day.
Very correct.
So government is working on that. I think there was a time earlier in the course of this year that I was reading the news that they attained that 2 million one day. I don't know how far that is true. That is not verified. I have not verified that. But there have been significant improvement in that area. Now,
or even the benchmark from the project from budget is also talking about 2.3.
Yes, the benchmark from the budget is talking about 2.3. So that means government is working to improve that. It was one of the issues I was really looking at